G'day Spurs fans, Paul Hotspur hippie here. Brighton and Hove Albion 4, Tottenham Hotspur 2. And interesting games. Both teams ravaged by injury. Tottenham more so than Brighton, of course. We started off brightly for about 10 minutes, although Vicario had to pull off 2 really good saves. Maybe Brighton should have done a little bit more with their chances there, but Vicario is flawless really. I mean, 4 goals looks bad, but 2 of them were penalties, don't forget. And 2 he couldn't do anything about really. So he had a great game, Vicario. But we just looked off it. We looked tired. There's no doubt about it. Having 10 players out is taking its toll. Brighton's first goal, I've forgotten who scored it, but it was a guy left out in the open. No defender picked him up. Easy goal, really. Easy goal for Brighton. Disappointing to go 1-0 down fairly early on in the game. And then the second goal, which was a penalty. Apparently, Kulu dragged a man down to the ground. The commentators said it all. When they said, "Oh, it didn't really look like much in real time, but in slow motion you can see it." It's like, well, the game isn't played in slow motion, is it? The game is actually played in real time. We're not playing it in treacle or in some sort of Star Trek kind of time warp field. It is actually played in real time. So it doesn't look like an offence in real time. In my mind, it's no penalty. The most frustrating thing about that, though, was play continued to go for about 3 minutes after the alleged infringement before VAR pulled the referee over to look at the screen. And that was so frustrating. Surely there's going to come a time in a match where this sort of scenario plays out and a team's going to score a goal in the meantime. And what's the rule if that happens? Does that goal get wiped out? Does it stand? I don't understand what's going on with football. They're just making it up as they go along. So I've got to get myself comfy here. I'm a bit tired. I did a watch along with the game, which was kind of fun in a cathartic sort of way. It felt like I was at the game. I had quite a few people watching, keeping me going with chats and stuff, which I was ignoring when I was engrossed in the game. But it was fun. I will do more of those. I won't be doing the Bournemouth game because I'll be working. I'll be watching that game afterwards, after I've taken all the merry revellers back home safely on New Year's morning. So that penalty was absolutely frustrating for me. Ange said it in his press conference afterwards. Yeah, I must have been clear and obvious. It took him 3 minutes to determine it was a penalty. I don't know what it is, but it ain't football, folks. It ain't football. Anyway, I might be whinging about these penalty decisions, but overall I can't say. I'm going to say Brighton deserves to win. You know, football is a funny old game. The team that deserves to win usually wins, and this is the case. So I could probably moan about the 2 penalties and say that neither were justified, because I don't think either were, giving an apparent result of 2-2. But that's not how football works. I'm not saying that for a second. I'm not saying it cost us the game. I think we would have lost somehow anyway if something else would have happened, because for the middle 70 minutes of the game we were knackered. We were out of it. Brighton didn't look that good until, I'd say, the end of the first half and a period in the second half where they were actually playing some nice stuff. Our problem was we were giving the ball away. We didn't look sharp. We were giving the ball away an awful lot. And we stopped pressing Brighton. That first 10-minute period of the first half, we were up and at them. And towards the end of the game, where Brighton obviously was sitting back a bit, they were doing game management stuff like going down with cramp and sprained taints, going down at the corner flag, all this time management rubbish, late substitutions, rubbish. They didn't, but we weren't up and at them for large periods of that game. It didn't look like it was lack of effort though. It just looked like lack of, I don't know what, playing ability. I don't know, tiredness, stamina. I don't know. Bit disappointing because of some of those players, it was their chance to shine before the January window opens, and some of them maybe didn't take that chance. Some of them are off it. Like Sarr was unusually quiet that game. I'm not sure the reason for that. Maybe he's just buggered, or playing in midfield with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I think it's time to go, Pierre, man. I've tried liking him, and he's just not good enough, man. He doesn't raise other players. He requires other players to raise him, and that's a real problem. Rumour during the week is that Levy has told Lloris, Dyer and Højbjerg that they can all go. Lloris and Dyer can go on frees. We're going to stick our noses out for a fee for Pierre. But on the other hand, who else we've got? I mean, I can't really blame him and sort of slag him off too much, because who else we got, at the moment? But you could really see, it looked like, I was describing it during the watch along, it looked like players were hiding, but maybe that's harsh. When Vicario is trying to pass the ball out to midfield, it'd be like Højbjerg would get onto it, but he hasn't got the skill to half turn it and progress it up the pitch, not like a Bentancur or a Basuma. So it just meant the ball was going back to Vicario. I mean, we didn't really kamikaze it in defence playing out. We did play it out a couple of times, which was quite nice. We did start the second half better. Not as good as Brighton, but still better. Brighton's third goal was a worldie out of nowhere. It was a great shot. Beat Vicario fair and square. He had space, but it was far enough out that I think maybe I can forgive the defenders. The first goal, maybe not so much, so no one picked that dude up, but that Brighton's third goal was just one of those freakish things, well taken. Not a lot we could do about that one. Brighton go 3-0 up. Popo's out. They're on to me. And then Brighton's fourth goal, another penalty. And another penalty I thought was soft. Yes, it was a kind of tackle from behind, but he didn't take the guy's legs out. He got kind of threw him onto the ball. If that's what we're giving around for penalties these days, I don't know, man. Two rough ones there. But that's it kind of justified in the way I said earlier. Brighton deserved to get the points today. But what a climax to the game, and it was enough to get me excited about it. If we had not shown any effort, I would have been quite deflated, I think, because I was for some of that game. I've edited the watch along highlights, you can have a look at that. I don't know if I'll keep doing that because it took me about 2 hours to put that together. But we started coming strong. Brighton was sitting back and we started playing some nice stuff. We brought on subs of Lo Celso, Valise, who got us a goal back. I wasn't too impressed with his celebration, but he's a young kid. It's his first Premier League goal. I get it that he's excited, but dude, it's a team game, man. You don't go running off your nut when you're 4-1 down. You get the ball out of the net, you put it back on the centre spot. But hey, exuberance. Maybe there's some pent-up stuff there. Maybe he wanted to prove himself or something like that. But anyway, he took a goal, a good goal, and that was about the 80th minute. And it started giving me hope, because not long after, we got another one in. We also had a couple of offside goals. Richarlison just getting one wide. I thought Richarlison had a good game, actually. A bit unlucky not to hit the back of the net, and he looked good. It's not like anyone was especially bad, I guess. When we got lacking of centre-backs, you are going to have a hole in your team that's going to stop play going out to the top. It's going to reduce confidence of outfield players to play a bit better football. The fourth goal, bloody hell, who scored it? I can't even remember, man. My brain's a fuzz. But we got another goal, and at that stage I'm thinking the comeback is on. But it kind of petered out to a little towards the end there a little bit, even though there were about 10 minutes of added on time at the end of the game. So overall, 4-2 looks bad. Usually I'd be really quite disheartened and downbeat after a result like that. And perhaps some of the performance as well was lacking, but I don't know. I think the players tried, and that's just what we are at the moment. And to come back, I know it's small consolation to get 2 late goals, but when you're 4-0 down, you could see the guys were really putting in an effort to try and get something out of the game. So they deserve a little bit of a clap on my knee for that. Onwards and upwards. We're 6 points off the lead because Brighton bottled it against West Ham. Arsenal bottled it against West Ham. So we're still in touch there. 6 points off. We've just got to hang on a few more games until we get firing. It's tough though. It's tough out there on the pitch. But, you know, that's football, eh? You win some, you lose some. January's around the window, around the corner, which means we're going to get some players back, and hopefully we're going to get some players in through the door and ship some out. And we'll see what the makeup of the complexion of our team is then. So they did just enough to keep me slightly happy. I don't like losing, but it gave me a bit of hope towards the end anyway. So on that, folks, I'll say thanks to everyone that enjoyed the watch along. Highlights are up, and I'll see you next time, folks. Peace and love. Oh, by the way, just a little addendum. There's an article on Australian media over here, news.com.au, Murdoch's rag online, and the headline is Ange's team mocked across the Premier League for, you know, like being rubbish and all that. And you read down, and I'm not mocking the player here, I'm mocking news.com.au, and yet again we see at the first instance, and it's happened a few times this season, Australian media absolutely ready to rip Ange Postecoglou down. Tall poppy syndrome, especially when, you know, you're not of an Anglo background in this country. But it was absolutely disgusting what news.com.au printed. And what the headline saying, ridiculed across the Premier League, what it came down to was, as they describe, English great Aaron, and I can't even remember his surname. It was a player I'd never heard of. He's never played in the Premier League. I'm not besmirching the guy because, you know, he's done more than me in the game. But for him to be described as an English great and mocked across the Premier League just to get a headline and just to put Ange down. Shame on you, news.com.au. Shame on you, Murdoch, you bloody muppet. Pull your heads in, and why don't you support some Australians overseas? Or support football, you know? Nah, that'll never happen in this country. Absolutely disgusting reportage. Ange was dignified in his press conference afterwards. I agree with every word he said. Up yours, news.com. Up yours, Murdoch. Go and spin on it. And on that note, peace and love, man, to all of you non-Murdoch people out there. Peace and love, man, and come on, you Spurs.